Okay, we are now in factoring when we don't have a GCF. Okay, it's going to look like this. Our goal today is to make these two quantities. When we have these two quantities and we multiply, like originally in the beginning of chapter 8, we would FOIL and bring them together to get x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now what we're saying is, okay, I'm going to give you this quadratic and I want you to work backwards to find these two quantities. Breaking them apart and making them into two factors is called factoring. We're going to use that FOIL method by working backwards. Here, notice when we have a plus plus, it ends up plus plus. Here we have x times x, a positive 7, a negative 2, and we end up with a negative at the end. So sometimes we're going to have a negative at the end. When we have a negative at the end, we realize that it was a minus and a plus, or a plus and a minus. When we have a positive at the end, it could have been plus plus, or it could have been negative negative. Okay? The pattern for multiplying two binomials can be used to factor certain types of trinomials. These are called trinomials. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Trinomials. Factoring a trinomial where a is 1. And what is a? A is the number in front of x squared. So technically there's a 1 here and there's a 1 here. So it says steps to factor a polynomial in the form of x squared plus bx. Well, b represents a number and so does c. We're going to rewrite the expression in standard form. So standard form, standard form, standard form. We have to rewrite it in standard form. Standard form needs to be like this. Okay, they're all in standard form. Step 2, find two numbers that when you multiply, they get C, but when you add them, you get B. So looking back up here, what are factors of 12 that add up to 7? Well, they were 3 and they were 4. They add to get 7. They multiply to get 12. And then you write it, okay? So here we saw plus plus was plus plus. So we're just going to work backwards. And we're going to say x plus x plus. We have to find factors of 42 that give us 17. Well, I know 6 and 7 make up 42. When I add them together, do I get 17? No. All right. Let's try some other factors. If I take 42 and divide it by 3, I get 1, 4. Does that give us 17? Yes. So when I add them together, I get 17. So x plus 3, x plus 4. 14, I mean. All right. So if I have plus plus, then it's plus plus. Here, it's not minus plus to give us a negative in the back. There's a plus in the back. There was a plus in the back here, but it's plus here, so that's why it's plus plus. So if there's a plus in the back and it's minus, it's going to be minus, minus. So I have to figure out factors of 72 that give me 17. I know 72 is 9 and 8. Does that give us 17? Yes. If you didn't know 9 and 8, you could have just started by dividing by 2, then dividing by 3, then dividing by 4, and so on and so forth. So minus 9, minus 8, the order does not matter. So you could have put it like this. They are factors because factors are when two things are being multiplied. They're a factor. We are factoring. All right, looking at these, we have minuses in the back. So we know one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. I don't care the order that you put. I don't care if it's plus and then minus or minus and then plus, because we get a negative 35 and we get a negative 24. One is going to be positive and one is going to be negative. All right. What are factors of 35? We could have had a negative 7 and a positive 5, or a positive 7 and a negative 5. Do either of these add up to negative 2? Yes, the negative 7. So the larger of your number will get that sign. So 7, and a positive 5. Like I've always said, the beauty of math is that you can check your work. N times n is n squared. N times 5 is 5n, minus 7n is a negative 2n. Negative 7 and 5 is negative 35. Here, we negative 6 times 4. Well, that's going to be negative 2, not negative 10. All right, let's do negative, let's divide it by 2. Negative 2 and a 12. Well, that gives me positive 10. I want negative 10, so let's switch it around. Yes. Okay, and the more you do this, the easier it comes to you. So these are our answers. They asked to factor. Okay, it says confirm your answers using a graphing calculator. Well, if you put this equation in your graphing calculator and hit graph, there's going to be a U-shaped curve at some numbers. So for example, with this one, the numbers 8 and 9 are going to be crossed. Okay, so that's how you'll know. Down here, let's do this one. We have 3 terms with a plus in the back, so this sign will double up. What are factors of positive 2? A 1 and a 2. Does a negative 1 and a negative 2 add up to 3? It does. Here, we're missing that middle term, so we could rewrite it like this. That means it must have been a 0 if there's no middle term. And if there's 0 or no middle term, it means these numbers canceled each other out. So one of them is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative because we have a negative in the back, and they must be the same number to cancel themselves out to get a 0. So what's 25? Well, it's 25 and 1. That doesn't cancel, but 5 and negative 5. They cancel each other out to get 0. All right, we're going to stop here for today.